Imagine a man whose courage echoes through the centuries, a warrior so fearless that his name is etched in history as one of the most feared in the Bible. He was neither a king nor a prophet, but his actions and loyalty made him a legend. His name? Benaiah. From the beginning, Benaiah was not an ordinary man. In an age of giants, bloody battles, and powerful kings, he stood out as a relentless warrior, capable of facing the impossible. What makes his story so fascinating are not just his victories over men and beasts, but the unwavering faith and fierce determination that guided him. He was the man who dared to face any adversary, even when the odds were against him. In this account, we will explore the life of Benaiah, his most extraordinary feats, and discover what made him the most feared man of his time. Prepare yourself for an epic journey of courage, loyalty, and unbreakable strength as we unravel the details of the life of a true biblical hero. Benaiah lived in a time of kings and conquests, in an era where brute strength and courage were essential for survival. He was a contemporary of powerful figures like King David, one of Israel's greatest rulers, and Solomon, the king known for his wisdom. This was a period of constant battles, where nations clashed for survival and expansion. But to understand Benaiah's true impact, it is important to look at the setting in which he emerged. Israel was a young nation, surrounded by enemies on all sides: Philistines, Ammonites, Moabites, and many other peoples who sought to destroy the people chosen by God. Each victory or defeat was a matter of life or death for Israel's future. It was in this context that men like Benaiah became absolutely essential. He was part of a select group known as David's mighty men, legendary warriors who defended the kingdom of Israel. But Benaiah was not just another among them. He was the leader of an elite force, someone whose reputation quickly spread due to his impressive battlefield achievements. It was in this setting of wars and intrigues that Benaiah began to carve the path that would make him immortal in history. Benaiah did not come from a royal lineage, nor was he born into a prominent family. He was the son of Joiada, a priest from Kabzeel, a small town in the southern lands of Judah. Perhaps it was not destiny that someone of such humble origins would become one of the greatest warriors of his generation. But, as history often teaches us, destiny has a curious way of taking the least expected and placing them in positions of honor. From a young age, Benaiah was known for his courage and combat skills. Unlike many, he seemed to know no fear. It is said that he always sought danger, testing his limits and challenging the impossible. This boldness, mixed with natural ability, soon set him apart from his peers. His early deeds were already impressive. He not only fought alongside ordinary soldiers, but he led and inspired them. And it was this combination of humility, bravery, and faith that caught the attention of none other than King David. David, a king who himself began as a simple shepherd, recognized a similar spirit in Benaiah, someone destined for great things. Benaiah quickly began to stand out even more impressively. His fame as a warrior was growing, but it was his early exploits that truly put him on David's and Israel's radar. He was not just an ordinary soldier. Each battle he fought was marked by acts of heroism that seemed straight out of a legend. Among these early feats were confrontations that seemed impossible. He faced enemies of superhuman strength, led ambushes, and fought battles in situations where defeat seemed certain. But Benaiah never wavered. He not only survived but triumphed. His fellow warriors saw him as a natural leader, someone they could trust in the heat of combat. No matter how dire the situation, Benaiah always took the front lines without hesitation. And it was this boldness, this fierce courage, that quickly made him one of the most feared and respected warriors in all of Israel's army. But there was one particular feat that would begin to shape his legend, and he was about to face something few would dare, an encounter with the very ferocity of nature. And so it happened, one of the most impressive events in Benaiah's life, something that would solidify his name in the annals of history. He was on a mission on a cold day when he spotted something that would make most men retreat: a fierce lion. The animal, huge and powerful, had fallen into a well, and instead of escaping that natural trap, it was angrier and more dangerous than ever. For anyone else, this would be a good reason to step back and move on, but not for Benaiah. He saw an opportunity, a chance to prove once again his unwavering courage. And without a second thought, Benaiah descended into the well, facing the lion in its own territory, in a tight and slippery environment where there was no room for error. What followed was a brutal fight. The lion's roar echoed off the stone walls, and every movement could be the last. But against all odds, Benaiah emerged victorious. He not only survived that deadly encounter, but he defeated the beast with his own hands. This act of extreme courage not only impressed the men around him but became a symbol of Benaiah's strength and determination. After this feat, his name was no longer whispered only among soldiers. The story of how he killed a lion on a snowy day began to be told throughout the kingdom, and his reputation as the bravest of warriors spread even faster. But Benaiah did not stop there. The lion episode was just the beginning of a series of achievements that would cement his position as one of the greatest warriors in Israel's history. Soon after this incredible victory, he faced a new challenge, an Egyptian giant, a colossal man armed with an immense spear. This giant was known to be invincible in combat, someone many feared even to approach. And once again, while others hesitated, Benaiah charged forward. What made him so feared was not just his courage, but his intelligence and battle skills. He knew he could not face the giant in a traditional manner. The Egyptian spear was enormous, something an ordinary warrior would have no chance of dodging. But Benaiah, with his cunning, disarmed the giant, taking his opponent's spear and turning the tide in his favor. With the giant's weapon in his hands, Benaiah defeated him relentlessly, turning what seemed like an impossible fight into a decisive victory. This confrontation marked another crucial point in Benaiah's journey. He was no longer just the man who faced lions, now he was the man who defeated giants. After this victory, his fame spread even faster. He had become a living legend, someone who seemed to know no limits, capable of facing any adversary, whether human or beast. Each victory grew his influence and the respect he commanded among Israel's warriors and even among his enemies. With so many impressive victories to his name, Benaiah quickly caught King David's attention. Not just any man could face lions and giants, and David, a king who himself had faced Goliath, knew how to recognize a true warrior. This is how Benaiah was promoted to a position of great prominence. He became the commander of King David's personal guard. Being the head of the royal guard was a gigantic responsibility. He was not only in charge of protecting the king but also of leading an elite force composed of Israel's most feared and skilled warriors. These men were the kingdom's most important line of defense, and David placed full trust in Benaiah to safeguard the life and security of the throne. And Benaiah did not disappoint. He proved once again that he was not just a talented warrior but also a natural leader. Under his command, the royal guard became an even more feared force, and his presence beside David was a symbol of power and protection. While others served the king, Benaiah was the one in whom David placed his deepest trust. Benaiah's loyalty was unwavering, and he served the king with a fervor that went beyond duty. For him, protecting Israel's throne was a divine mission, and he fulfilled this mission with a dedication that elevated him above others. Benaiah's loyalty to King David was one of his most striking characteristics. He not only served the throne but demonstrated a personal devotion to David himself, something that went beyond the orders of a commander to his king. In times of political intrigue and betrayal, Benaiah remained steadfast, defending the kingdom with unwavering faith and rare loyalty. When conspiracies arose against the throne, Benaiah was always ready to act. One of the most critical moments of his loyalty was during Adonijah's attempt, one of David's sons, to usurp the throne. While David was already advanced in age and his succession was not clear to all, Adonijah tried to seize power on his own. Many nobles and commanders were seduced by Adonijah's promise, but Benaiah, along with the prophet Nathan and the priest Zadok, remained loyal to David's will, who had chosen Solomon as his successor. It was Benaiah who led the decisive action to ensure Solomon was anointed as the new king of Israel. When the order was given by David, Benaiah executed the plan without hesitation, demonstrating a loyalty that could not be shaken by personal ambitions or external pressures. He not only supported Solomon's succession but also acted as the executing arm that, with precision and strength, eliminated those who threatened the kingdom's stability. His loyalty was not just a matter of military duty but a life mission. Benaiah saw himself as the guardian of God's plan for Israel, and his commitment to David's throne was absolute. He was not just the protector of a king, he was the protector of a promise. With Solomon established on the throne, Benaiah once again proved his worth decisively. After David's death, the transition to Solomon's reign was not easy. There were enemies and rivals of the new king that needed to be eliminated to ensure the kingdom's stability. It was Benaiah who played the role of executor in this new era of security and power. When Solomon assumed the throne, he knew he needed loyal men by his side to consolidate his position. Thus, Benaiah was appointed commander of the army, a position of utmost importance. He not only replaced Joab, who had been a powerful commander during David's reign, but was also tasked with eliminating the remaining threats. Joab, who had betrayed David's trust and allied with Adonijah, was one of the first to be eliminated by Benaiah, an act that cemented his prominent place in Solomon's reign. Besides Joab, other rivals and traitors to the throne were also confronted by Benaiah. He became the executor of Solomon's justice, ensuring that peace and order were maintained in the kingdom. His firm hand and unquestionable loyalty allowed Solomon to govern without the threats of internal enemies. The trust between the new king and Benaiah was total. Solomon knew that with Benaiah leading the army, the kingdom of Israel was secure. Under his command, the army of Israel became one of the most respected forces in the region. Benaiah was not just a warrior but a brilliant strategist, someone who understood the importance of firm and decisive leadership to protect the kingdom from external and internal threats. Every battle he fought, every enemy he eliminated, was further proof that he was destined to stand beside Israel's great kings, protecting the kingdom he had helped build. Over time, Benaiah's figure came to represent much more than brute strength and military skills. He became a symbol of absolute loyalty, relentless justice, and above all, a defender of Israel's divine purpose. His journey was marked by challenges, battles, and difficult decisions, but always with each step, he maintained a stance that inspired respect and admiration. But Benaiah's life was not only made of external battles. His career also teaches us lessons in leadership, showing how a true commander not only fights alongside his men but also guides and protects them. He knew that a leader must be strong but also wise. His victories, though often achieved by the sword, were largely the result of his strategic intelligence and his ability to remain calm even in the most adverse situations. Under Solomon's reign, Benaiah continued to play an essential role in building a strong and prosperous kingdom. With peace firmly established within Israel's borders, he could turn his attention to long-term security and stability issues. His role was not only to ensure the kingdom's immediate survival but also to pave the way for future prosperity. Benaiah's story teaches us that true power lies not just in physical strength, but in the strength of character. He shows us that true courage is more than facing lions or giants. It is being willing to serve a greater purpose, even when that purpose demands sacrifices. He was a warrior with a mission, and his mission was not just to protect kings but to defend what he believed to be just and divine. Benaiah's life also offers deep lessons on loyalty and faith. He was a man who understood that true strength comes from a source much greater than physical abilities or war tactics. His courage, though admirable, was not just the result of training or natural bravery, it came from his deep trust in God and the mission he believed to be divine. Benaiah teaches us that loyalty goes beyond following orders. He was loyal not only to David and Solomon but to God's own justice, believing that his role as a warrior was to fulfill a sacred purpose. Every decision he made, every battle he fought, was guided by this sense of greater duty. He believed that God's hand was upon Israel, and he was the instrument to ensure that this plan was realized. But Benaiah's legacy goes beyond the victories he achieved on the battlefield. His actions speak of character, showing how a man's true greatness lies not just in his strength but in his integrity. He shows us that even in the darkest and most dangerous situations, a man can be a beacon of light and justice. He faced death countless times but never lost sight of his faith. This unwavering trust in something greater is what made him stand out among other warriors. He was more than a fierce combatant. He was a spiritual leader, someone who inspired his men not only with his strength but with his faith. This combination of physical ability and spiritual strength is what truly makes Benaiah such an important figure in biblical history. And so, we reach the end of Benaiah's journey, a man whose life was marked by extraordinary feats and unwavering loyalty. His legacy endures to this day, not only as one of Israel's most feared and respected warriors but as an example of courage, fidelity, and faith in action. He was not just a figure of physical strength but a model of integrity, someone who fought not only for kings but for what he believed to be just and divine. Looking at his life, we can see that Benaiah's impact goes far beyond the battles he fought. He teaches us that true power resides in the ability to serve a purpose greater than ourselves, to remain steadfast in the face of adversity, and to be faithful to the calling we receive. Benaiah understood that a man's strength lies not just in his muscles or his skill with the sword but in his ability to remain loyal, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. Through the centuries, Benaiah's story continues to inspire, reminding us that even in times of great danger, true greatness lies in honoring what we believe in. He lived his life as a defender of justice, as a protector of God's will, and therefore his name remains etched in the pages of history as the most feared, and at the same time the most faithful, man of his generation. His legacy is more than victories. It is the reminder that those who serve with faith and courage, regardless of the challenges they face, leave an eternal mark.